Hi all, and welcome to another studio vlog. I'm gonna flip the camera around here and show you, but I've kind of left the studio in a bit of a mess. And I should say I kind of left the studio in a bit of a mess. Not completely on purpose, but we had a Harvest Host guest coming in. And so I wanted to get some things, like specifically the driveway, a bit cleaned up before he came in. So the studio was a mess when we gave him a tour of it, but you know, it's usually a mess. It's a working studio, what can I say? And he actually bought a piece of artwork, so that's exciting. So I need to fill a space back there. I need to get another piece of smaller piece of artwork down to fill that blank space. So thank you if you're watching this video for buying found scrolls. I really do appreciate it. But before we jump into this week's video, here's a quick introduction, just in case you're new around here and wondering what this channel is all about. Hi there, I'm Stacy, the encaustic mixed media artist behind Studio Stacy. Encaustic literally means to burn in. So I paint with beeswax and a torch, and because it's mixed media, pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Consider subscribing and joining this artsy community. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, which helps me get introduced to more like-minded artsy folks like yourself. All right, so back to cleaning up this mess. I'm considering this painting done. The painting that I finished in last week's video. I think it was last week's video, but at any rate, the painting that's sitting here on my desk, I'm considering it done. So I need to take the tape off of it and clean up the griddles and the paint that I have out from this painting and kind of get my workspace back to quote-unquote normal. So that is going to be first on the list today. Alright, all tape is taken off of this panel. It's all nice and clean. And the work table is definitely all nicely cleaned up as well. Well, I guess kind of nicely cleaned up. Don't mind all of the drips here, but that's just going to stay there for now. All right, so task number 2 in here today is to get up in the loft area up there and see what blank panels I have for the next couple trees that I want to paint. I think I have a couple up there that are like a medium-sized panel. So when I pull those down, see how many I have so I can figure out how many more tree paintings I want to do. And then also I'm going to pull another piece of artwork down there that I think I have up there to put out on the shop area where that other painting went. Not where the other, well, yeah, I guess where the other painting went that the Harvest Host guest bought. So that is task number 2. All right, my initial thought was this painting. However, I think this blue painting actually gives a little bit more space down there and looks better. So we're going with this one. All right, I think you probably saw, but I actually have 3 of these kind of medium size panels here. So yeah, I was thinking I only had 2, but I have 3, so that's good news. I know I want to do some sort of oak tree, whether it's the white oak or red oak, I'm not sure. And then the same thing with the maple, some sort of maple tree. So next I need, and the third one I'm debating, so I did a pawpaw tree in a large, like 1 foot by 2 foot panel that actually another Harvest Host guest bought, so thank you for that. Did I say, so I'm thinking about maybe doing the third one in that pawpaw tree since I sold the pawpaw tree painting. It's smaller, but I'm thinking about possibly doing that. And then I need to look to see what leaves I have here that I've already preserved as far as the maple and the oak, because I don't know what, I think a while back, you probably saw that video. If you haven't, I'll try to link it down below or up here somewhere. But I preserved a bunch of leaves before it was winter here, in the hopes that maybe I would have time to do some leaf prints this winter. And I'm really glad I did, because that's going to be part of the next steps of this. So obviously there's no leaves on the trees right now. So at any rate, oh, I also have a large 2x2 panel up there. So I'm debating on putting a tree on that. I don't know. Next step, let's look to see the leaves, and I'm going to stop blabbering on here. All right, I forgot I have dogwood tree leaves in there as well. So I definitely have more white oak tree leaves than the red oak. So I think white oak is definite. Maple tree is definite. I think I'm going to do the dogwood tree and then possibly the pawpaw tree. So I'm thinking 4 more tree paintings. Oh, 5 more, because I have another panel sitting under, you can't see that, under this stack here. It's a bigger panel, so I'm thinking about putting like several different kinds of trees on it. So I'm debating now on what to put the pawpaw tree on. Do I put it on these medium panels, or do I put it on the 2x2 panel? That one's quite large. Pawpaw trees aren't usually that large. Or do I look at doing like the white oak on something like that? I'm going to have a think on it. But I definitely have all the leaves for all of those trees. And I actually have leftover pawpaw leaf prints. So I wouldn't have to reprint that, even though I do have some pawpaw tree leaves available if need be. But yeah, so now I have to have another think on what size panels I want to do, but I'm thinking 4 more trees and then that larger panel over here that's underneath these other panels, doing like a combination of a bunch of trees. So I think I'm probably going to leave you here for today, but I will be picking you back up, so this is not the end of the video. I'm going to be picking you back up and maybe doing some leaf prints for some of these trees, just to make sure the leaves look fine. They're definitely brown, and they've, you know, they're no longer green, but I think I can definitely get some leaf prints out of them. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up for you all very, very shortly. Just a few moments, actually. Me again. So I decided, I remembered that I had like these file folders of the various different West Virginia trees that I did back when I did the mini series of the West Virginia trees, not these bigger paintings. And so I went through that folders, or those folders from the dogwood, the maple, the oak, yeah, those 3 folders, to see if I had any tree sketches done, like even though they would be mini ones because they were the mini series, to see if I had any tree sketches from those mini paintings, and I really didn't. So I also need to work on figuring out, kind of sketching out these trees. So that might be happening in this video as well. I'm just really trying to plan out the next, 4 to 5 paintings, not completely, but just get to a point where I can start painting them, because I'm nowhere near that point right now. So Just gonna kind of keep working through some ideas in this video. Hopefully you're enjoying it. So yeah, anyways, next I will definitely be picking you up for the leaf printing up next. See you in a few. Hi all, made it back into the studio, and it is Monday. Happy Monday, by the way. But over the weekend, Matt actually helped me wire up some of these paintings. So I've got one hanging back there, and if I carefully spin around here, I've got a couple over there. So yeah, so he helped me in the studio real quick just to get these paintings wired up, and I now have a nice clean work surface and work table, so that's really nice. So today in the studio I'm going to be doing some leaf prints, and I spent part of the morning actually kind of planning out some colors for the next several paintings. So I will try to stick these color kind of schemes in, or color palettes in, that I'm thinking about doing for the next couple paintings. And I think I touched on this briefly a couple of videos ago when I was talking about creative block and creative discipline. And that is, it's been nice for me to come into the studio with somewhat of a plan. And so I thought I would kind of walk you through that process in this video, how I'm planning out the next several paintings. I don't know if I said that previously, but that's kind of what this video is going to be about. Well, not kind of, but it is what it's going to be about. So yeah, I'm going to do some leaf prints today here, and then we'll just see where the video goes, see how many leaf prints I can get done today. All right, so yeah, let's get printing some leaves. All right, all, I am running low on rice paper, and I actually order this online. So I think I'm gonna try to cut some of these in half because I have 3 more paintings or 3 more tree leaves that I want to print. So I'm definitely gonna need 2 whole sheets for the white oak tree, because I think that's gonna be the biggest painting. So I'm hoping then to be able to just use a half a sheet or 1 entire sheet. And it is the Wan paper. I think I'm saying that right. But because I did so many experiments, I think, with these leaf prints to begin with, I'm now running low on this rice paper. I think I'm gonna have enough, and I don't wanna just place another order online and have a bunch of rice paper hanging out, because I think these might be the last 3 tree paintings. We're gonna see. But at any rate, fingers crossed for me here that this is gonna work out, and I'll get enough leaf prints out of just like 1 whole sheet, basically a half sheet of each unsized and semi-sized one. So anyways, cutting some paper in half. I am also hoping that these leaves hold up. They feel like fairly pliable still, not completely dried out, but these are, I said earlier, believe from last year. Clearly no leaves on the trees these days, but yeah, hoping they also hold up. So anyways, now I think I've got buried under here, flat paintbrush out, I've got some water, I've got the watercolor paints that you saw me pick out. So Now I think we are ready to paint or print some leaves, not really paint. All right, all the dogwood tree leaves are now printed. I think they came out really nice, so I'm quite happy with that. And I'm probably gonna call it in the studio today. It was a really quick, short studio session, but like I said, I spent most of the morning kind of doing color palettes for these. So I'm hoping to get back over here tomorrow to print the maple leaf and the white oak leaf. So I will pick you up then. Morning all. No hat today. It is warmer outside. The sun is out. I saw some turkeys. Hopefully I got some video of it. They're very skittish and they're hard to take video of, but they are also taking advantage of this warmer weather and rooting through the woods. But at any rate, I had to run and get a couple more watercolors this morning. We don't have a big art store near us, but luckily there is a store that's relatively close that does sell some nicer watercolor paints. And I don't know if you can hear that, but they're doing construction on our road. Sorry about that noise. Any rate, I'll flip the camera around and show you these watercolors, and I think I'll probably swatch with them first. I don't have any great like true red color, so that's what I was going after. So I don't know if any of these are going to work out, but yeah, that's what they had there and that's what was available close by. So that's what I picked up. And then I think probably most likely I'll be doing the maple tree leaves first, and then I think the oak tree leaves, and hopefully I'll get both of those done today in this studio session. But let me flip the camera out and show you these watercolors first. All right, I got an orange and a couple yellows as well, but and you could see this is probably an oranger red, where these two I'm hoping are going to be more of a true red. But I think you can tell on these cards, I had like a couple different pinks and quite a few like browny orange colors, but this was really the only red color I have, and it leans, I think, still a little bit more pink than red. So I don't know. We'll see if I get brighter reds out of these, or like a little bit darker reds, I think is what I'm trying to find. So at any rate, we'll see, but that's what was available. All right, before the construction vehicles come back down the road, I just wanted to mention a quick thing, and that is more high quality, yes, typically more expensive art materials, specifically paint, are definitely going to give you highly pigmented paint colors. So I don't know if you could tell, but I barely dipped the end of this paintbrush into those tubes and just got the teeniest bit of paint out. These tubes, they're, you know, they're real small, as you can see, but they're going to last me forever. So, and yes, they're more expensive. I think some of them were like $10 a tube, some of them are $13 a tube, and you think, oh my gosh, that's so expensive for this little teeny tiny tube. And while I'm not disagreeing with you, it will go a long way. So if you're just kind of starting out in your art adventures, your painting adventures, I would recommend buying some high quality, maybe some more expensive brands that you perhaps might not find at some of the large big box stores, because they're going to last you a long time. And I think you may find that you might get slightly better results with them. Just my 2 cents, and I just wanted to point that out. But I think what I'm going to do is stick you up on time lapse, because I think the construction is just going to be going back and forth all day on the road today. So time to get some leaves painted, and if I think of anything else, I'll pick you up, or leaves printed, I should say. But for now, time-lapse mode, and let's get some leaves printed. right, all. I have leaf prints all over. Oh, and some random leaves too, apparently. All over the studio here. And yeah, I think I have all of them done that need done. Some random, you know, scrap pieces of paper as well. But I'm happy with how all of these came out. And I think I'm calling it for today in the studio. The plan is to also get back in here tomorrow. So I will be picking you up then. See you shortly. Good morning all. Happy, what is today? Wednesday. Day 4, I think, of planning out these next couple of paintings. And the studio is a disaster. I left all the leaf prints out yesterday. So first thing I need to do is get this mess cleaned up. And then I'm gonna see if I can try to get the red maple, the white oak, I think it is, white oak, and the dogwood all sketched out and somewhat finalized. The tree itself, we'll see how far I get. I definitely want to at least do the red maple and the oak tree. So, or the red maple and the dogwood, I'm sorry. The oak is going on the bigger panel, so I can put that off a little bit if I need be, but I'm hoping to get all 3 somewhat sketched out. All right, all, because you've seen me sketch a lot of trees recently, and I'm sure you know what sketching a tree looks like, I thought I would touch really kind of quickly, briefly on more of my planning process. And that is that this process started a year or more ago. Basically, I did a bunch of research on native trees of West Virginia. And if you missed that mini series, I will try to remember to link it up top or down below in the description. I'll link it somewhere, but I started to do a bunch of research on these trees, and then I've picked a few trees to turn into larger paintings. And specifically with all of the series, with the mini series and with these larger tree series, I'm wanting to make them stand out as individual trees. So I want the sycamore tree to look different than the red maple tree, to look different than the dogwood tree, which is why I put quite a bit of effort in to begin with, wandering around, finding these trees either on our property or in other areas, trying to take a bunch of pictures, and then also doing a bunch of research, like what's the difference between a sugar maple and a red maple? Because they are, while the leaves look similar, they do have, I should say, some distinct differences. And of course, within the, there's a big difference between the oak and the maple tree and the sycamore tree and the dogwood tree. So I'm trying to make sure I'm capturing those differences in these paintings. So I just thought I'd throw that out there, that the planning process of this series started a long time ago, and quite a bit of research has gone into this whole series. So just thought I'd throw that out there in case you're, just curious about my process, I guess. I wanted to say one more thing about my planning process, planning the painting process. And that is that I'm fully aware this is not for everyone. All of this kind of planning and prepping and all of the stuff. Fully aware that a lot of really great artists just jump on into a painting without kind of this planning or prep work. That is not my process, and I'm always interested in learning other people's processes and what works for them. I don't know, I find it really interesting. So I'm hoping you are too, but I just wanted to say that if you're an artist or a creative person that just jumps on in without any kind of planning or preparation, that's okay. No judgment here. And making art, that's the important thing. So I just wanted to say that before we continued on with this video. All right, well, kind of as expected, I didn't quite get the white oak tree all sketched out. That's okay. I got the red maple and the dogwood tree pretty much finalized as far as the sketch goes. So I think that is ready. I have a couple more steps that I want to do before I can jump into these paintings. And so I will pick you back up here very shortly for those steps. But for now, for today in the studio, I'm calling it. It is well past lunchtime, so I'm gonna run over, make myself a quick lunch before I actually need to dive into making dinner. So we'll see you in a few. Morning all. In the studio, as you can see, frosty start out today, but the sun is out. We are here in the studio, and I am hoping to wrap up kind of this planning portion of the next couple paintings and also wrap up this video in this studio session. So we'll see how that goes. I think what I'm going to do today, or not I think, but hopefully what I'm going to do today is to sketch out the bark of the red maple tree and the dogwood tree. And I'm going to do this just on some mixed media paper with encaustic paint. So I'm going to pick out the colors of that and then probably pick out the colors of encaustic paint for the background for both of those tree paintings as well. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, got the griddles going, heat is turned up, so hopefully let's get to doing some painting. All right, after a bit of back and forth there, I think I have the colors picked out for both the red maple tree and the dogwood tree for both the tree bark and the background. And I pulled out the leaf prints, which you might have seen in that time lapse, but I pulled those out too, just to kind of take a look at everything together. And I'll flip the camera around and show you what I'm thinking about. This could all change, of course. Okay, red maple. These four colors here are going to be the background. And then if I pan over this way, these are going to be the tree bark and the tree itself, these colors. So I've pulled out like a couple different grays that are just out of the drip pan, like the leftover wax made this gray color and this gray color. And then I also have this gray color that I mixed up using some earth pigments, and this is fairly transparent. I just know that from experience. And I'm thinking these are going to be a little bit more opaque, so I've pulled out kind of all of these grays just to see. I have a regular old black color that also happens to be made out of earth pigments that I made. And then this is, that's really bad glare there, but it is RNF's burnt umber color, and it's this. So the tree itself is going to be a combination of some grays, browns, and black, and then the background is a combination of these kind of blue, gray. This is a little bit more purpley leaning blue, but those colors. And then of course the leaf prints, which you've seen me already do. So if we pan over this way, here is the dogwood tree, and the dogwood tree background is going to be these three colors, two of which are again earth pigments that I've made. This is French pale green, it's an earth pigment, and I think this is, yeah, this is the cypress green, and then this is an encausticose deep lake color. So those are going to be the background in theory of this. And because the pink leaves are fairly light, this deep lake color I'm thinking is going to be just kind of here and there. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to really see these leaf prints. That's my thought in theory. And then if I go back over here, these are going to be the tree bark and the rest of the tree colors, along with this black. So kind of a purpley gray, warm gray, purple gray, black, and then this gray blue color, which is Irish gray, also encausticose. So there you go. And now it's time to try to paint the bark. And video editing me will try to remember to insert some images here of the red maple tree bark, which has more like straight lines in the bark itself. It's not like small chunks, it's more straight, larger chunks of lines. And then the dogwood, I'll also try to insert here, is more like smaller chunks, like almost circular, not quite circular, but they're much smaller kind of little chunks of bark. So anyways, let's get to painting this bark. I'm going to I'm going to stop rambling here and get to painting some bark. All right, I wanted to mention one more thing before I start painting these tree barks, and that is that I'm going to put down several layers of clear encaustic medium and probably 2 layers of white encaustic paint onto some mixed media paper. And this is just scrap mixed media paper that I have laying around. The reason I'm putting down a couple layers of encaustic medium and then white encaustic paint is because that's basically what I'm going to have on the backgrounds of these, along with, of course, the background paint. Encaustic paint needs something to kind of adhere and sink into. And while it does work with paper, I have found it works best if I have a couple layers of medium and the white paint already down onto the mixed media paper. So I just thought I would throw that out there as to that's why I'm putting this down, not to be wasteful of medium or paint, but I find that when I actually start to paint with the colors, it reacts the same way as it would react to on a panel that's already prepped and already has some encaustic paint down on it. So hopefully that will answer any questions in case you're new around here and haven't seen me do this before. That's why I do it. I should also say that I have my heat gun out and not the torch because I am painting on paper and I don't want to catch anything on fire. But when it comes to actually probably painting on the panel, I am going to get my torch out. But the heat gun is here for now for safety precautions, safety reasons. The dogwood tree bark took a lot longer than the red maple tree bark. Spent a long time trying to iron that out, and I'm still not completely happy with it, but I've got an idea of kind of how I want to go about painting it. Sorry if you can hear that buzzing. The neighbors are out chainsawing, I believe. Probably gathering up a bit more wood for the rest of the winter. But yeah, bad time to pick up the camera apparently. But anyways, I'm going to flip this camera around and I'll show you the dogwood tree bark and the maple tree bark, and I'll try to put a picture like kind of side by side of like a real maple tree bark and then the painted bark that I just did, and then the same thing with the dogwood so you can see them side by side. All right, here is the red maple tree, and I think you can kind of really see those straight lines in both the painting and in the actual image, or the straight lines of the bark, I should say. And here is the dogwood, the one that I'm not quite as happy with, but I think it's getting there. And this is exactly why I take the time to do all of this planning process and sketches. All right, and I think that is it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It truly does help me out. Consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed already. More painting videos and hopefully actually painting one of these paintings is coming up very soon, maybe even in the next video. We'll see what we get up to. But yeah, if you have any questions about this process or anything like that, let me know down there below in the comments. I'm happy to answer anything and everything that I can. And I would also just curious as far as like, what do you plan out your paintings? Like, do you go into some details kind of like I'm doing here? Or are you just more like a fly by the seat of your pants kind of artist, just dive into the panel and go with it? I'm curious. All right, all, thank you again so very, very, very much for coming along. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.